Hey everyone, and welcome to another big drawing display review. XP-Pen just released a new 22-inch drawing display, the Artist Pro 22 Gen 2, and I am going to examine it for you now, and I'm going to tell you how I like it. In my last review, I had the Huion Canvas 22 Plus, and even though the canvas is an older model while the XP-Pen is brand new, I think they cover a wide price range for 22-inch drawing displays, so I'm going to give you a comparison in the end that will hopefully bring some more light into the display jungle. With all the different drawing displays out there, there's usually one major difference with these big 22-inch models: the resolution. XP-Pen has their Artist series, like the Artist 22, and the Artist Pro series, which has more features including a high-res screen for a higher price. Just like the Artist Pro 22 Gen 2 I'm going to review today. Speaking of prices, the XP-Pen Artist Pro 22 Gen 2 is currently around €799 in the European shops, and by using my code PLASTICPEN100 you will get a €100 discount. I'll put a link and the code in the description as well, of course. The US shop has the tablet for $699 right now, so there's the discount basically built in. Let's look into the specs of this machine before we unbox and try it. Most importantly, we have a 21.5-inch screen with a 1440p resolution. That means the screen can show you 2560 by 1440 pixels. We have a 99% color gamut in Adobe RGB and sRGB, which means the display can show 99% of the colors these profiles cover. Other tablets like the Huion Canvas even go beyond 100%. However, I personally always use the sRGB standard anyway, so it doesn't make a big difference for my workflow. Apart from that, the brightness and contrast stats are good and what you'd expect from a professional model these days, but nothing out of the ordinary. The stylus that comes along with the display has a very high sensitivity with over 16K pressure levels, and there's also some kind of smart chip working in this thing, but honestly, in the end, I'm interested in whatever feels good when I'm using it and when I'm drawing. So let's talk about the pen in a bit, and I want to unbox the display now because I can't wait to get it running. The packaging looks really good again, by the way. It's nice how they include the work of different artists for the different models. This one here is by Sasha Fortova, and I love her art style a lot. Alright, this is the tablet. First impression is that it's really heavy. It feels robust and just like it's been made from high quality materials. The stand is directly built in and also seems to be very handy with that lever to adjust it. Then we have the obvious cables. The most important thing to know here is that XP-Pen keeps the cables for power, USB and HDMI separated. There's pros and cons for this system, but give me a second and I'll show you a very big pro for my specific setup. And then we have the extra gear, and XP-Pen does an awesome job that I didn't expect here. First, there's a beautiful pen case. It seems like it's made of aluminum or something, feels very good. And inside there's the pen, extra nibs, and also the USB connector for the shortcut remote that I found in there after 10 minutes of turning the box all over. Speaking of the remote, I didn't expect this to be included, but it comes with the Artist Pro 22 Gen 2 as a standard. XP-Pen also sent me an alternative stylus, the X3 Roller. It turns out complaining works after all, because in my review for the Artist 16 2nd Gen, I called the pen the weakest part of the tablet. The XP-Pen guys sent me this now to check out and find out if this is a good alternative to the stylus that comes along with the display. Up to the desk with all this, let's plug in and draw. But first, installation. Everything going smooth here apart from the cable length. Again, the included HDMI cable was just too short for my desk. And here's the advantage of separate standardized cables I mentioned before. I just grabbed a longer one. So if you don't have one, order one for a couple bucks, easy. The setup is easy as well. Simply download the driver from the XP-Pen website, connect everything, and if needed, adjust the settings. I was surprised that the Artist Pro 22 Gen 2 didn't even need a calibration, so it was pretty much plug and play. In the setup app, as usual, you can also assign functions to the stylus, buttons and the shortcut remote, and everything didn't take me longer than half an hour, so setup is really straightforward for this device. That being said, now the fun part truly begins, drawing. For this test, I decided to draw another isometric house. I recently remembered an old illustration. I think it's probably around 10 years old, and I must have made it when I was a design student. It was an old Baroque style building with a DJ set on top, and one wall was a huge speaker. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the original, but now I want to recreate it in my current style. I'm going to use this building from the German city of Mainz as a reference for the Baroque architecture. I set up a canvas in Clip Studio Paint and used the scribbling part to get a first impression for the display and pen. I like the etched glass surface. This seems to be an industry standard now, and in my opinion, this works great for drawing. Apart from the protection aspect, I don't think you need a screen protector anymore to increase the drawing experience with these kinds of surfaces. I instantly recognized that this display has a very direct hand-to-canvas translation. The strokes feel very natural and the distance from pen tip to screen is low. The screen surface is also supposed to have some kind of anti-fingerprint coating. However, my fingers are either too greasy or this is a bit of an overpromise. It's not worse than with any other display out there though, and certainly better compared to glossy screens. Now let's look into the pen a little more, because we need to know, is it the tablet's bottleneck part again? Well, short answer, it isn't. From my tests, there seems to be a huge difference between the drawing styluses XP Pen delivers with a low budget series and the Pro series displays. The X3 Pro has a quality touch and a nice weight, while the regular X3 felt a bit cheap and the precision is much better. That's great news. And now that the bar is set a bit higher, what about the X3 Pro roller stylus? Apart from the little more compact design and advanced surface, the most important feature is the additional wheel. That wheel is a great feature in theory, however I didn't really get comfortable with the placement of the buttons. The button I use the most is the lower one for scrolling the canvas, and I always had to change my grip for using it. When using the shortcut remote, I didn't really need the extra wheel for zooming or changing the brush size. So in comparison with the X3 Pro, I'd keep the standard. In comparison with the non-Pro pens, the X3 Pro Roller is still miles ahead of all the stylus. This applies very much to my very own way of drawing and my workflow, of course, but I can say that the stylus XP Pen sends you along the Artist Pro 22 Gen 2 is top-notch. When reviewing a drawing display, the overall feeling matters most to me. I'm obviously not talking about emotions here, but what I mean is that I'm not really that much interested in cold hard facts or specs, as long as I have a piece of gear that allows me to translate something from my brain into my hand onto a canvas. And I gotta say, using this display feels great. I'm in the outlining process now and I can't find any flaws or anything that disturbs my workflow. Before coloring these outlines now, I set up a quick palette with the pink from the original building as the main actor, and maybe some blue and yellow to give it company. Sounds good? Let's color. And while I'm doing so, I'm thinking about the question I want to answer in all reviews. Who is this drawing display for? In my opinion, if you're into large screens and if you're able to invest the money, go for a 1440p resolution option like the Artist Pro 22 Gen 2. 1080p versus 1440p is a huge difference, especially if you're sitting in front of that thing the whole day. If you need to go low budget, consider the overall need for a display this large first. Lower priced models like the Huion Canvas 22 Plus are a valid option, but you're going to make a compromise. I personally am more into compact models, but simply because my desk is already very full. If I ever move into a bigger office, I'm the first to grab a 22-inch drawing screen, and chances are high that it will be this XP Pen because it is an amazing machine. I simply can't understand why anyone would pay more than $1,000 for a drawing display these days, because those Wacom competitors got really good. Here's the final artwork. Thanks to XP Pen for making this review possible. As usual, appreciate the sponsoring, and my opinion is 100% honest and independent. If you're looking to invest and you're standing between two choices and you have a hard time nailing one down, let me know in the comments, and I'd love to give you my opinion and hopefully help you make a decision in the end. As always, remember that everyone's workflows and everyone's profiles are very unique and different. But one thing is for certain, a better drawing display doesn't make you a better artist, but this one here is a really good drawing display. That's it from my end today. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye bye.